أستغفر الله. الله أكبر. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام، تباركت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم لا مانع لما أعطيت. لا إله إلا الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم افتح مسامع قلوبنا لذكرك. اللهم طهر قلوبنا من كل داء ودنس. Ya Allah, please open the hearing channels of our hearts to your dhikr. Ya Allah, purge our hearts from every filth and every stain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, my dear brothers and sisters, تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا والعاقبة للمتقين. After Allah Azza wa Jal told us about the story of Qarun and Musa, and most of you, if not all of you, know about the story of Qarun and Musa alayhi salam. And Qarun was of the people of Musa. He was one of the so-called believers. And he was very rich and very powerful. But it seemed also he was very arrogant and very maghrur and very deluded. And Allah Azza wa Jalla tells us, subhanahu wa ta'ala, the home of the hereafter, tilka darul akhirah, we make for those who do not seek in this world to be above others and do not seek corruption in this world. Those who live in this world with moderation and humility and humbleness, and those who do not take part and do not want to be part of anything that is mischievous, that is corrupt, that creates disorder, and that creates havoc, and that creates fitna. Those, the home of the hereafter is their reward. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us have clean hearts so that we would be of those, inshallah ta'ala. In this context, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I'm sorry, says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ibn Adam, tafarragh li'ibadati. O child of Adam, empty yourself for my ibadah. In other words, those of us who want al-akhirah, if our aim in this world in which we live, we should live in such a way that our aim is akhirah. And when our aim is akhirah sincerely, then we would have a certain quality of life that is consistent with that aim of akhirah. If akhirah is not our aim, then we would have a different quality of life. But the quality of life that Allah desires for us is bound by aiming inside of us towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, towards al-akhirah. And so in this context, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that Allah Azza wa Jalla says, and this is Hadith Qudsi, addressing all children of Adam, Ya ibn Adam, tafarragh li'ibadati. O child of Adam, empty yourself. Literally, that's what it says. Empty yourself for my ibadah. And empty yourself has meanings, two at least in this case. that not only I find time for what we say ibadah, for Allah Azza wa Jal, and it's very painful to say I must find time for Allah. Isn't it? Isn't it awkward, very impolite and painful to say that? How could I look for time to find for Allah? Which means my time is for everything else. Let me find time for Allah. That's why tafarragh does not really mean find time, but it means empty yourself. Empty yourself, not only externally, but internally, inside of me. What I have inside of me of attachments, of priorities, of likes, of dislikes, all of that which fills me inside and my thoughts and my emotions. Tafarragh, empty yourself from that. Tafarragh li'ibadati, so that you be my abd, for me. If you do that, tafarragh li'ibadati amla sadraka ghina. If you empty, I fill up. He says, subhanahu wa ta'ala, tafarragh amla. أملأها صدرك غنى. So that's why, والله تعالى أعلم, what I said, that tafarragh means empty yourself from inside, because the continuation of the text says, I shall fill up your heart, your chest, your breast. That means empty that, I fill it up. How do I fill it up? غنى. أملأ صدرك غنى. I shall fill it with wealth, richness. You will feel rich. You will feel inside rich. That's the promise of Allah Azza wa Jal. And yet, most of us human beings, we don't do that. We don't empty ourselves. We fill ourselves with all matters of dunya out of fear that we are not rich. And yet he says, you empty, I will make you rich inside of you. I will fill up your heart with richness. أملأ صدرك غنى وأسد فقرك. And again, that which we fear, because we think if we attach ourselves, some of us say, astaghfirullah, if you attach yourself too much religiously, you become too religious, then what happens to your dunya? Legitimate matters of dunya. And that's what makes us not give that quality time and not empty ourselves out of fear to be poor. He says, subhanahu wa ta'ala, in this hadith Qudsi, وَأَسُدَّ فَقْرَكَ, and I shall suffice you against poverty. If you do that, يا ابن آدم تفرغ لعبادتي أملأ صدرك غنى وأسد فقرك, and I shall guarantee you security and safety from poverty. والله إنه لحق. والله الذي لا إله إلا هو إنه لحق. Those who do that from the depth of their hearts, whose aim is Him subhanahu wa ta'ala and the home of the hereafter, they will live honorably in this dunya. They will never be poor in this dunya, even in this dunya, because they were freed inside of them from this dunya. تفرغوا فملأ الله قلوبهم بغنى القلوب. And he continues to say, وَإِلَّا تَفْعَلْ, and then the opposite, if you don't do that, it's up to you. He's telling us, it's up to you. We have freedom of choice. We choose. If you choose the other alternative, it's up to you. وَإِلَّا تَفْعَلْ, and then if you choose the other alternative, if you don't do that, ملأت يديك شغلا ولم أسد فقرك. And if you don't do that, this is the consequence. Literally it says, I shall fill up your hands with worries, and I will not guarantee you security from poverty. We will live, first of all, with worries. أملأ يديك. It's like we have a full hand. You can't do anything else. And most of the quality of our time of life is about worries, insecurities, fear to lose, fear not to have, restlessness, anxieties. Fill up with worries. أملأ يديك شغلا. And on top of that, and I will not guarantee you safety from poverty, despite all the efforts that you do. Your heart, I will never guarantee that it is rich. Most of the time, one would feel not having enough, feels poor. If we don't do that. تلك الدار الآخرة أجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا. And in the other second rak'ah we read وما هذه الحياة الدنيا إلا لهو ولعب وإن الدار الآخرة لهي الحيوان لو كانوا يعلمون. This life of this world is but in its essential reality لهو ولعب, distraction and fun. But the home of the hereafter is the real life. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى that He grants us an honorable life in this world, in full consciousness of Him Azza wa Jal, and in full desire of Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that when He takes us to Him Azza wa Jal, He takes us to Him with those who are happy with Him subhanahu wa ta'ala in akhirah as well. آمين. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.